Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of The Conversation. And today I got a pretty interesting topic for you guys that I think you guys are going to enjoy. And the topic is why Scottie Pippen likes comparing Kawhi Leonard to Michael Jordan. And that's what I want to get into this video today. So before we get into it, make sure you guys go ahead and hit the like button. We're trying to get as many likes as possible on these videos. And hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the channel already. And when you do that, make sure you hit the notification bell to be notified when all of our content drops so you don't miss it. So go ahead and do that now. After that being said, let's get straight into the content. So, question is, why Scottie Pippen likes comparing Kawhi Leonard to Michael Jordan? And for me, I thought this would be a pretty interesting topic for a number of reasons. The first reason is we all just finished watching the Last Dance documentary, and it just made me, just go online and search for videos of Scottie Pippen talking. And then coincidentally, I stumbled upon him talking about Kawhi Leonard. And I've also heard him talk about Kawhi Leonard in the past, how he likes to compare him, not compare him, but he just sees similarities between Kawhi Leonard and Michael Jordan. And he just seems to like Kawhi Leonard's overall game. So before I get too far into that, just take a listen to some of the things that Scottie Pippen has actually said about Kawhi Leonard throughout his career.
What do you think? Who do you think is the closest player we've seen to Michael?
Let me see. I'll say Kawhi.
Oh, Kawhi, so you agree?
Did y'all forget about Kobe?
Well, what do you think? I mean, you play with Jordan, six championships. Is it Kobe or is it Kawhi? Who's more like Jordan?
They're both great players.
If you had to pick one, though,
I don't really want to pick one.
You don't want to pick one? But you do see a Kawhi-Jordan resemblance?
I mean, right now, Kawhi's playing well.
Kawhi's playing well?
No.
He's a beast.
He can take it.
He's a beast. He can take it. I mean, that's what great players do. They want to run the whole race. They don't want to be taken out. And that's what we're seeing in him. And he knew the importance of that game. That was basically the closing game for them if they didn't come through. So to defend your home court, to come in and fight through the struggles, the injuries, or whatever he was dealing with throughout that game, he just laid it all out on the line. And to have a teammate like that, and I've had one like that.
Yep.
You have. Those guys elevate everybody else. Obviously, his teammates knew that he was injured in that game, but the battle to stay in the game and to stay out there on that floor says so much about that young man.
Who do you see more of yourself and Jordan in these two duos?
Well, I'm going to have to go with Paul George and Kawhi because there are more guys that plays out on the perimeter. Reminds me of myself or Michael, guys that can get after other guards. I like what AD and LeBron is able to do, not to take anything away from those two guys. They're very difficult guys to guard. But the versatility, the things that Paul George and those guys can do, both guys, and Kawhi in terms of getting other guys involved and making the team better, I like what they can do as a duo.
Now, as you can see there, he seems to understand, a couple of things about Kawhi. Number one, he's a winner, and I think he likes the way he approaches the game, especially on both ends of the floor, because you got to remember, Scottie Pippen was a two-way player during his career, but he was more so known for his defensive prowess on the court and what he was able to do on the basketball court from a defensive end. Now, we also know that Scottie Pippen is a 6-time NBA champion. He's a 7-time All-Star Game MVP in 1994. He's been on 3 All-First teams, 2 All-Second, 2 All-Third, so he's actually been on 7 All-NBA teams. He's been on 8 All-First defensive teams and 2 second defensive teams, so he's been on 10 All-Defensive teams. He led the league in steals in 1995, and he's considered to be one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and he averaged 16 points, 6.4 rebounds, and 5.2 assists for his career. So Scottie Pippen wasn't a slouch, and when he speaks, a lot of people seem to listen for good reason because, as I said, the dude was no joke during his playing career. Now, for us to compare Kawhi Leonard to Michael Jordan, the only type of people I believe that draw comparisons to Michael Jordan are winners, okay, and people that can perform at a very high level for a long, for an extended period of time. If we look at MJ, MJ was just on another level for his career. The guy averaged 30 points a game, 6.2 rebounds, 5.3 assists. The last time we saw him playing as a Chicago Bull, he was playing 38.8 minutes a game at 35 years old. He was shooting 46.5% from the field, 23.8% from the three-point line, 78% from the free throw line, And, you know, the dude was just, you know, he got you 5.8 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 1.7 steals at an advanced age, and he scored 28.7 points that season. But we also have to bear in mind that he won the NBA championship that season. So although he didn't shoot such a high percentage from the three-point line, and it's fair to say that MJ did not put a big emphasis on shooting the three, because that season that I just told you guys about, he only attempted 1.5 three-pointers a game. But the season before, he averaged 37% from the three-point line, and he was attempting 3.6. So in no way, shape, or form is Michael Jordan not a really good shooter overall. And I think this is where we begin to see the comparisons between him and Kawhi. And I think these are some of the things that Scottie Pippen is starting to see in Kawhi Leonard. Number one, we have to talk about his efficiency. You know, MJ has shot over 50% from the field a number of times in his career. Now, for a person that gets the majority of his shots from the perimeter, that is astonishing. So, and MJ has been able to do that at a very high level. It's partly one of the reasons why the guy has 10 scoring titles. I mean, it's unbelievable when you think about it, how Michael Jordan was able to lead the league in scoring 10 times. It's absolutely astonishing. And he's also one of the top 5 scorers in the history of the NBA. Now, Kawhi Leonard, as I said before in other videos, is not the scorer that Michael Jordan is. I don't think Kawhi Leonard can average 37 points a game for an entire season, but I've seen the guy go on stretches where he's dropped 40 points and, you know, back-to-back 40-point games, and the guy has shown the ability to be a great scorer, but I don't think that that's something that necessarily it tickles his fancy, especially throughout the regular season. In the playoffs, though, you've seen him average over 30 points, you know, for an entire playoff run. So he's shown the ability to be a big-time scorer in high leverage moments, and I think that's really important to pay attention to. For example, the last season that he played with the Toronto Raptors, the guy was shooting 49.6% from the field for the season. That's about 50%. He basically shot virtually 50% from the field. And you all know, if you watch Kawhi Leonard's game, most of his shots are coming from the mid-range, from the perimeter. And for him to shoot such a high percentage when the majority of his shots are coming from the perimeter, it's astonishing, and it's Michael Jordan levels of efficiency. Also, he shot 37% from the three-point line last season with the Toronto Raptors, and he shoots really well from the free throw line, and 85.4% from the free throw line. This season, the dude is shooting 47% from the field, 36.6% from the three-point line, and 89% from the free throw line. So he's very efficient. And the funniest thing is that he's actually averaging more points this season. Last season, he averaged 26.6 points a game. This season, he's averaging 27 points a game, but he's playing 2 fewer minutes. So essentially, what this means to me is that he's basically making the most of his attempts. It also can mean that maybe he's another reason for that is because he's hitting more three-pointers this season. Because last season, Kawhi Leonard was averaging 5 attempts a game, making 1.9. But this season, he's attempting 5.7, but making 2.1 a game. So is this that little difference in the fact that he's hitting more threes? That's the reason why his overall scoring average is a bit higher than last season, although he played fewer minutes. So overall, I think one of the things that Scottie Pippen sees in Kawhi Leonard when he's talking about, you know, a comparison between him and MJ is his efficiency. The other thing is, you know, his defensive prowess. Michael Jordan won a Defensive Player of the Year award. Kawhi Leonard has done that twice. He is universally recognized as the best two-way player in basketball. And, you know, MJ was a two-way player, you know, for the simple fact that he can lead the league in scoring in one season and also get a Defensive Player of the Year in that same season. I wasn't sure if he did in the exact season, but the fact that he's been able to accomplish such a feat in his career, and Kawhi Leonard is a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, and he's scoring, you know, for the last 2 years, he's averaging above 25 points, you know, a game. And even in the last time he was in San Antonio, when he was fully healthy, he averaged 25.5 points that season. And in the following season, he averaged 16.2 because he only played 9 games that season because of his, you know, the circus that was going on between him and the San Antonio Spurs. So Kawhi Leonard is a 25-point-plus scorer per game, but he's also a defensive player of the year. So I think that that's something that he also notices in Kawhi. Another thing is you have to look at his body. Kawhi Leonard is very strong. Now, he's an inch taller than MJ because MJ is 6'6" and Kawhi is 6'7", but he's a very strong guy. He has a very strong body, and he also has very big hands, which is something very similar to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan also had very big hands. If you watch Kawhi and Michael Jordan play, they both have this sort of tenacious energy that they play with. So they both really get after you, especially on the defensive end. Because you see Kawhi Leonard is very quiet. He doesn't really speak. He seems a bit stoic. One would assume that maybe this guy is not as intense on the floor. But if you watch him play, you'll see that this guy is really tenacious. It's just that he doesn't run around, beating on his chest. So it's really hard to really notice it about him. And if you see one of the former defensive player of the year, Draymond Green, said when you play against LeBron or play against KD, you see that it's loud, it's flamboyant, it's in your face. But Kawhi Leonard, it's very subtle. I mean, you almost don't notice it, but then you look and this guy is just beating you, every single time up and down the court. And he said that's what's amazing about it. It's like it's not beautiful, but it's super, super effective. Another thing I think he sees when he compares Michael Jordan to Kawhi Leonard is winners' intangibles. Kawhi, although he's only been playing for 8 seasons, he already has 2 NBA championships. All right, he's won 2 NBA championships. He has one of the highest winning percentages, of all time for any player. And MJ was also a winner the majority of his career, or at least half of his career when he was playing with the Chicago Bulls. I think he played with them for 12 seasons. 50% of the time he was winning NBA championships. So MJ was a winner and Kawhi Leonard is a winner, and I think there you can draw some comparisons and see, a parallel between the two players. Another thing is their style of play. If you watch Kawhi play, he plays very similarly to MJ. I believe that has a lot to do with him being trained by Kobe, but also his ability to be that type of player. There's so many players that have trained with Kobe, but haven't been able to play like him. But Kawhi has seemed to find a way to figure out how to play just like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And he has a very similar game, really good post game, really good footwork. He's mastered the pull-up jump shot, which is a staple of Michael Jordan's game. He can hit the fadeaway at a really efficient rate. Same thing as Michael Jordan. Now, I think Michael Jordan is a little bit more athletic than Kawhi Leonard. He probably has a much higher vertical than Kawhi, because Kobe Bryant, I think he said he only had about a 40 to 42 inch vertical. So MJ still has the highest vertical. I think like 48 inches off the floor. So I don't think Kawhi Leonard has that same jumping ability, but he's still very, very athletic. It's just that he seems more stiff when he's playing. But I think if we take all of these things into account, I think this is the reason why when Scottie Pippen watches Kawhi Leonard play, he smiles and it makes him happy, because he can see the comparisons between the two guys. And also Kawhi Leonard is a winner, and I think that that's something that Scottie Pippen respects a lot, because he himself is a winner, and I don't think he wants to be associated with people or NBA players that have not won anything. So I think that's the reason why Scottie Pippen doesn't hesitate to heap praise on Kawhi Leonard. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you agree with some of the things that Scottie Pippen has said about Kawhi Leonard? Or do you think he needs to pump the brakes and or maybe he needs to be comparing MJ to another player? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified when all of our content drops. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day. Peace.